And so this was it. This was the defining moment for the heroes. First blood. Would it belong to Mauler and his goblins, or would it belong to the heroes? Well, Mauler was weak, that much was certain. He had taken a couple good wounds, but he was still fighting strong. Our heroes, on the other hand, had let 4 goblins escape. One more was on the way to escaping, and it was getting close. And as well, each hero, except for the lucky Leoric, had taken some wounds and were batting and beaten. But it was their job to try to stop this madness. And so here it came, the do or die moment. Could they defeat Mauler before the last goblin escaped the path? Grisbin the Thirsty grabbed his chipped great axe even tighter, harder with strength, and decided it was now or never. And so he attacked Mauler. And he hit Mauler. But Mauler was able to defend the great attack. And so, even more determination, he swung his great axe again. And he hit. And it was enough to do minor damage to the giant Eaton. And so, Leoric, with his arcane bolt and his runestone, decided he was going to take Mauler out, and shot at Mauler. But he missed. And so he decided to do it again. And he shot one last thing, and he hit. Or did he? Was it good enough to defend? Was it good enough? And it was not. And so Leoric was unable to even pierce Mauler's skin with his arcane bolt. And so Averic, it was up to him. Would he be able to do so? Would his gigantic mace be able to end this? And so he swung and hit. And he was able to do a glancing blow. And also stun Mauler. But it was not good enough to kill him. And so he swung back his mace again. And this time he hit even better. And he did another glancing bit of damage. Fair Jane could take this goblin out if she could hit it with his magic knife, with her magic knife. And so she threw a magic knife at the goblin, and she hit. The goblin, unable to defend, crumpled and died, falling to the ground. And so Mauler, knowing it was now or never as well, decided he would attack extra ferociously. And so he pulled back his mighty mace and swung it at the dwarf. And he hit the dwarf. And the dwarf took some damage. But for some reason, somehow, the mighty Eaton was able to attack again. And he decided to attack the dwarf again. And he hit the dwarf again. And so the dwarf took even some more damage. The other Eaton decided he was going to attack Albright, and so he did. And he hit very well. Albright raised the shield, but it still, he took a lot of damage. And he took so much damage, as a matter of fact, that the mighty Averic Albright fell to the ground. Unconscious, in a dazed state, and had been knocked out. The goblin, coming from the part of the trail, decided he would go and run towards Jane, but instead of running past her, he would shoot an arrow at her. And he did. He shot an arrow at her. And she took just a barely glancing blow of damage. And so the heroes had one more chance to win this mission and destroy the Eaton Mauler and stop another goblin from getting by. And so it was that the mighty dwarf, Crispin the Thirsty, wounded as well, decided he was going to shoot forward and swing his great chipped axe and hit the Eaton with all he could. But he missed. Oh my goodness, he missed. And so it was that he swung one more time. And he missed again. Oh my goodness, things couldn't just get any worse for the heroes. The orc of the book used his arcane magic and shot at the mighty ogre. And he hit, but it was a glancing blow and did no damage. He shot again. This time he did do damage to the orc. I mean to the Eaton. And it would be that the Eaton would finally fall down and crumble beneath the heroes. And so Mauler was dead. And the heroes triumphed on the mission, stopping 5 goblins from getting by. Although it did cost them a little bit. Averick had been knocked out. Grisbin the Thirsty and Jane Fairwood had been severely wounded and being close to being knocked out. While Leoric of the book had not a scratch on him, but they were unable to do search or find any good items, and so they had to limp their way to Alrin. And so that had been first blood. The heroes had won it, but barely. And so their experience and their missions, their quest had not even barely begun, and they still had taken a lot of punishment this time. And so maybe luck will fare for them better once they arrived in Erwin. So until then, we shall return and join our heroes next time in the Shadow Rune.